Hello, and welcome to another Dog Ear Discourse Top Shelf recommendation episode. This is Juan, and I'll be recommending All Systems Red by Martha Wells. Let's get right in, because this book comes in hot and it comes in quick.
Oh.
Ooh, wow. I'm here for it.
Okay.
It is a very action-packed tiny book.
Oh.
So
It's not the size of the book that matters, it's how you use it.
exactly. So this book was actually recommended to me by my thoughtful wife, who knows that if I pick up a book that is too long or in-depth, I will forget immediately what's going on because sometimes I don't have the time to read through an entire book. So this was perfect. It is a very compact book. It tells a quick story. So the story revolves around a security bot that they call them sec units, and it's assigned to a group of scientists on a surveying trip. So these sec units are assigned to the scientist groups that go out by this corporation that finances the whole thing. So they rent them out the shitty equipment, and it goes in the book. It just says how like they take themselves very serious, but they're obviously like cutting corners anywhere they can. So, and one of these corners that they cut was this sec unit that has a particular quirk about it. It managed to destroy its own governor module. It has like this ability of free will basically, but it has to keep pretending that it doesn't. So,
Oh, perfect.
so like right off yeah,
Hello,
like,
fellow robot.
yeah, and he's constantly like saying or having to like bite his tongue basically, so he doesn't say anything that he's like, oh, if I say that it's gonna give me away, or sometimes he will. And then after the fact, he's like, I shouldn't have said that. Luckily, they were in the middle of trying to save their own lives. Yeah. And not for the reasons you think. It's just simply because he's like, I want to be left alone. Its whole thing was, it starts out with it going over all these shows that it downloaded. Because basically, I mean, he's a piece of equipment. Gets thrown into, it's stowed away, like basically in the trunk. So it's sat there and it's going over like 700 hours of material that it downloaded, like just entertainment material, like different shows. And there's like the soap opera that it loves. So it's like, oh, I cannot wait to get thrown like back in the trunk so I can just keep watching these shows. The
Just
best part of
telenovelas. In the
yeah.
Oh, this sounds great.
So then later on when they finally, so a bunch of stuff occurs. They start to experience like these little malfunctions. So they start, and then one is, okay, it might be a malfunction. You get to a couple of them, you start to get a little bit more suspicious. And that's one thing that I absolutely love, a good science fiction mystery, kind of Michael Crichton-esque. As the story progresses and it comes to a point where they need to repair it because of some damage that it took, and they get into its head a little bit, and then they figure out that something different about it. So as they're trying to like discuss what it is that's going on and whether he is or isn't sentient, one of the scientists in the group brings up, he downloaded about 700 hours of this show. He's like, he is definitely bored. And boredom is not something that these robots are capable of otherwise. It is a condensed story. And I liked how much story was packed into such a small book. I like books that leave you with enough that you can kind of like explore the world in your own mind a little bit. And I feel like this book did that very well. One thing that I absolutely love is thinking about what would a robot start to think about if it was sentient, if it started to like have its own thoughts. Do you consider it alive or not? So it was just fun listening to like being inside the mind of a robot that's trying to figure that out for itself. And it does that by just downloading a bunch of junk TV. And it's like, I just want to be left alone so I can keep watching these shows. Like that's its whole mission. And it just keeps like getting dragged into like battles or trying to figure out why something is malfunctioning and like all these weird plots going on around it.
It's like, will you leave me alone? I want to watch my shows.
Literally, yeah.
Relatable.
Like pretends to know nothing or be less interesting. So it could be like, so I'm going to retire now to my like charging pod. Bye, everyone. Definitely not staying awake all night. If you need a short, I mean, this thing is under 200 pages, quirky, fun, action-filled sci-fi book, I would recommend All Systems Red by Martha Wells. I am keeping this book on my shelf and plan to add more of the Murderbot Diary series to it. If you read it, let us know on our Instagram at Dog-Eared Discourse.